No Virgin Mary, small team, no CP, big picture, the end is coming. Rainstorm, extreme cold, extreme heat, and various extreme natural disasters are waiting for Lingling. It's only 3 months to prepare. With the mysterious herbal medicine space handed down by the family of traditional Chinese medicine in hand, Lingling and his friends will survive in the end of the world, firmly believe that the end will pass, save all kinds of resources, rebuild human civilization, and revive science and technology. Chapter 1. Strange Heat in May. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In May 2088, the early summer in Heisher was hotter than usual. The noon sun is scorching, comparable to the heat of July and August. Lingling is continuing the final step of a new fabric coating experiment in her Independent Materials Research Institute laboratory. The new fabric coating can maintain a constant temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, with a sun protection index exceeding SPF 200. It is antibacterial and radiation resistant, and can also resist strong acid and alkali corrosion. When applied to the surface of matching fabrics, it can also prevent knife and sword cuts. This is a research and development project in collaboration with the Chinese military, with plans to apply the first batch to Special Forces clothing. After 2 years of development work, it has finally been completed in these days. Hand over the data analysis and report operation after the experiment to the students to monitor, and Lingling walks out of the laboratory to take a break. Due to the special nature of the end of the experiment, Lingling has not gone home to rest for a week. Although there is no one waiting for her at home, it is home. Even if there is only one person, it is a warm little nest. Pour a cup of homemade flower tea, the air conditioning in the office is sufficient, and Lingling temporarily empties herself. Lingling, 35 years old, is a postdoctoral fellow in materials science, born in a family of traditional Chinese medicine, and proficient in traditional Chinese medicine and herbal medicine. She has inherited the acupuncture and moxibustion magic skills of her family for hundreds of years, and has her own Independent Materials Research Institute. My parents passed away due to a car accident in their early years. Lingling was only 6 years old at that time. It was my grandparents who brought Lingling up and taught her the traditional Chinese medicine and herbal medicine skills. So Lingling has been very busy since childhood. She has no time to grieve for spring and autumn. In addition to her own studies, she has spent her spare time studying Chinese medicine and acupuncture and moxibustion with her grandfather, planting and processing herbs with her grandmother. Other children play in the park, and Lingling recognizes herbs in the family herb garden. Other girls, like little princesses, wore wreaths made of various small flowers as their crowns, while Lingling admired various herbal flowers as fresh flowers. The love and cultivation of Lingling by her grandparents are synchronous, so Lingling did not lack love in these years without her parents. It was just because of her busy studies that she had little time to make friends, and the siblings Inglan and Ingdi from the neighboring house became her only friends. Dingling, Lingling's phone rings. It's her best friend Inglan. Picking up the phone, before Lingling could speak, there was a frenzy across the street. Woo-woo, Lingling, you don't love me anymore. I've called you so many times. Woo-woo, do you not love me anymore? Lingling helped her forehead and said slowly, "No, let's have something to say. I can't answer the phone when I enter the laboratory. I haven't been home for a week." Inglan. Ah, who abused my Lingling? Tell me, I'll go kill him, humph. Inglan said fiercely. Lingling smiled and said, "Okay, Nyo wants to avenge me." Inglan swore confidently, "That's necessary. Those who offend my feathers will die." Ingdi, Lingling leisurely said a name Yinglanmo. Then he awkwardly smiled and said coquettishly, "Oh, Lingling, I missed you. Come to my house for dinner tonight. My brother is back, and the 3 of us are together. He hasn't been home for a long time." Lingling said simply, "Well, I happen to be able to go home and rest today." Inglan immediately said happily, "Great, then I'll wait for you at home." Before hanging up the phone, I didn't forget to give Lingling a weak kiss. Mua, love you, my dear Lingling. Lingling smiled helplessly. Perhaps her naturally cold self could only be so relaxed and happy when she was with her best friend Inglan. Inglan, nicknamed Luolalan, is a 33-year-old middle-aged beautiful girl who is already a university physics professor. Although she appears to be a Luoli, she has a deep military family heritage, is proficient in various firearms and weapons, and is a domineering female warrior. Her combat skills are full, and several soldiers can't match her 10 moves together. But she is usually extremely passionate about various online novels, such as Time Travel and Rebirth, and post-apocalyptic palace battles, which are all her dishes. This hobby is completely different from her identity as a physics professor, and it is a contradiction. Luolalan and Lingling have been friends since childhood, and the two families are also close friends. In middle school, when Lingling was entangled by small thugs outside of school, she blocked Lingling and knocked them away. At that time, Lingling looked at Luoli, who was 2 years younger than her, with blood on her arms, and bravely defeated a group of young gangsters. Lingling recognized these sisters who shared life and death. Over the years, complementary personalities have made the relationship between the two quite good. Lingling is busy with her career and doesn't consider getting married, while Luolilan is also too lazy to date and is a true unmarried person. After resting, I returned to the laboratory and asked the student if the experimental data was running smoothly. The student said it was going well and estimated that the report would be delivered by 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. The student also felt sorry for the teacher and said, "Teacher, you haven't been home for a week. There's nothing special today. Let's go home and rest. We will report the results to you early tomorrow morning." "Well, you guys have to work hard today. I'll be back tomorrow morning," Lingling explained briefly. She went back to her office, changed her clothes, picked up her bag, and went home. It's 3 p.m. now, and the sun is still hot and spicy, just slightly cooler than noon. The garage is underground. Although it is also stuffy and hot, the car is much better than being exposed to sunlight, otherwise it would be a free oven. Arriving at the garage, Lingling's black Hummer stood domineering in low-key, untouched for a week and covered in dust. Yes, although Lingling appears as an imperial sister, she exudes a fierce heart inside. Her clothing is mainly casual and comfortable, with black, white, and gray as the main tone. Her long hair is high and tied up in a ponytail, clean and neat. Her facial features are as delicate as sculptures, her nose bridge is high and straight, and her classical almond-shaped eyes subtract some coldness. Her lips are as red as cherries, naturally slightly upturned, always revealing a faint confidence and composure. Never applying makeup, but far surpassing those beautiful women who wear nude makeup. Sometimes Luolilan would deliberately sour her, "Oh, our Lingling is so beautiful that we don't know which stinky kid will be cheaper in the future." Lingling always said calmly, "Please pay attention to my sister's inner self, thank you. Get in your car, open the window for ventilation, spray some cleaning water, and use a wiper to easily wipe off the dust on the front windshield. Start and go home." The black Hummer is tall and powerful, with its engine roaring like a spirited warhorse galloping on the hot road. The traffic on the road is 20% less than before, and pedestrians are even fewer. Since May, Haishur has been experiencing the same hot weather as in previous summers, and many people have reduced their outings. Lingling looked at the steaming heat on the road and felt something was wrong. Without much thought, Lingling returned to her own apartment, which was not far from the research institute and only a 15-minute drive away. After all, Lingling didn't go home for a week. When she returned to the apartment, she first turned on the fresh air system, then went to take a shower and change clothes. "I haven't come back for a week, and there is still some dust in the apartment." Taking advantage of the early hours, Lingling is preparing to do a simple cleaning. Start the sweeping robot, sweep the floor first and then wipe it. Turn off the fresh air system and then start the automatic vacuum system. Boil a pot of homemade flower tea and take a look at the small grass and medicine garden that you have taken care of on the balcony. This apartment was mainly bought by Lingling near the Research Institute for work convenience. The apartments are all 32-story high-rise apartments. Lingling has a cold personality and is not very sociable, nor does she have time to socialize. She bought a top-floor, 150 square meters, 2-bedroom, 2-living-room fully decorated room, and a large kitchen. Lingling likes it very much because she likes cooking, both Chinese and Western styles, and baking. Whenever she has time, she will make some delicious food by herself and rest. There are 2 households in one elevator, and it seems that no one has ever lived next door, so it's like living on one floor, which is also clean. The apartment is located in a high-tech development zone, more than 10 kilometers away from the city center. The price is not expensive and the environment is good. Most of the residents here are young people working in the nearby development zone. The surrounding facilities are complete, including supermarkets, schools, and hospitals. There is only one old butler, Chen Bo, and his wife, Li Mama, left in the old house, while Lingling only goes back to stay on holidays. 2 years ago, both my grandfather and grandmother were 90 years old and passed away one after another. Lingling really only had herself, but Luolan said, "Lingling, you're not alone, we're all your relatives." Chen Bo used to be an apprentice of his grandfather, and he could actually become a doctor on his own. However, at that time, his apprentices treated his master like his own father, and he always followed his grandfather as an assistant. Later, he became the butler of the old house. Li's mother used to be his father's wet nurse, and her husband died of illness at an early age. Li's mother had a daughter named Daiwen, who also studied medicine. After studying abroad, she became a borderless doctor and rarely returned to China to treat patients in underdeveloped countries such as Africa. Li's mother was alone in Haisher and stayed at the old house, while her grandfather acted as a matchmaker for his disciple. Chen Bo and Li's mother formed a family and worked together at the old house. Until her grandparents passed away, Lingling said to Chen Bo, "Both you and Li Mama are old. We will stay here for our whole lives to retire. When you can't do anything more, I will invite someone to take care of you. I don't have any other relatives, we are each other's relatives." So Chen Bo and Li's mother, who were nearly 80 years old, stayed at the old house. Although Lingling is usually very busy with work, she still occasionally visits the old house, not only to visit the 2 elderly people, but also to inspect a large herbal garden in the backyard of the old house. The machine sound prompt sounds. Wiping has been completed, vacuum cleaning has been completed. It was already past 4 o'clock, and Lingling got up and prepared to go to the old house. A gift for my precious best friend, a newly developed gadget from my own research institute. It is a multifunctional travel bag made of nanomaterials. It is said to be a travel bag, but in fact, it is only the size of a wallet. The high-tech material can stretch and deform, and can be transformed into more than 10 types of travel equipment, such as umbrellas, windproof jackets, hiking sticks, seats, etc. The research and development of this material was in collaboration with a company specializing in outdoor products, and it is still in the internal trial stage of outdoor products. It has not been put into formal production. Luolan loves all kinds of strange little things, and Lingling has already prepared one for her. In addition, I also took 2 sunscreen clothes, which are also using the new sunscreen coating developed by the previous research institute. The sunscreen effect is far superior to all sunshade umbrellas and sunscreen clothes on the market. This is prepared for the 2 uncles and aunties of the Ying family, which is just right for the recent hot weather. As I was about to leave, I suddenly remembered that Ying Di had returned and picked up a very exquisite dagger from the study. The material of this dagger was comparable to that of a dragon-slaying knife, and it was not an exaggeration to say that it sliced iron like mud. Well, that's right, this is also a new type of alloy material developed by her research institute, and this is a project in collaboration with the public security system, which is suitable for sending to Indy. Drive downstairs and leave the community. Just walked through an intersection, there is an automatic car wash shop 200 meters ahead, so drive in and wash the car white. It will shine brightly in 10 minutes perfect. Chapter 2. The Secret of the Ancient Medicine Chest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In 2088, technology has developed to an alarming level, with various fully automated robots, AI, and unmanned operations filling everyone's lives, work, and study. As a materials engineer, Lingling sometimes thinks about how to operate these fully automatic, AI, and high-tech products if a major disaster suddenly breaks out and energy supply is cut off. Will humans be unable to survive at that time? Human beings are insignificant in the face of nature, so since Lawton saved her from the knife that time, in addition to her busy studying life, she has added another fitness activity. Only by being strong can she increase her chances of survival. After work, Lingling went to learn many courses that she believed were related to survival skills, such as diving, rock climbing, skiing, parkour, agricultural planting and breeding, mechanical repair, car repair, electrician, radio, extreme driving, yacht driving, and even took a helicopter license. If it weren't for those who didn't learn how to operate high-speed trains, she would have taken a train driver's license. When learning these, I still remember to bring my good friends and sisters. Llewellyn is breathless. What are you learning here? However, good sisters also want to be together when they are stupid, so Llewellyn scolded and followed them. In order to retaliate against Lingling's crazy learning, Llewellyn pulled Lingling to find her mentor Professor Su, a physicist specializing in spatial scale research, to learn those invisible and intangible spatial scale knowledge. Lingling did not refuse. She felt that learning more was like having an extra survival skill, but Llewellyn was so angry that she rolled her eyes. The old house is not located in the city center, but to the west of the city, while the development zone is located to the south of the city. It is very fast to take the highway from the periphery and can be reached in half an hour without traffic congestion. Lingling drove straight to the old house. The old house arrived, and the courtyard felt the door open. The car drove directly into the courtyard and parked. Lee's mother was picking vegetables in the pavilion in the yard when she saw Lingling coming back. She immediately came over with a smile and said, "Lingling is back. Is it hot or not? Come in quickly and I'll cut watermelon for you." As he pulled Lingling inside, he chattered happily, "Your Uncle Chen is in the herbal garden in the backyard. Take a break and eat watermelon. I'll go call him back." Lingling immediately said, "Mom Lee, don't worry. Later, I will go to the backyard to find Uncle Chen and also take a look at the herbs." Lingling followed Lee's mother into the kitchen and watched as she took out the watermelon from the refrigerator to clean it, cut it open, dug a ball, filled a large bowl, and then cut into large pieces to extract juice. Watching Lee's mother act fiercely like a tiger, she doesn't look like an elderly person approaching 80 at all. Perhaps this means that her mentality is good and she won't grow old. Lee's mother said while operating, "Okay, you'll go to the herbal garden later. It's too hot, and Uncle Chen plans to collect a batch first, afraid it might get too hot. It's really strange this year. In spring, there are swarms of flying insects, and it's only May now. It's already hot like summer." As he spoke, he handed the squeezed watermelon juice to Lingling and said, "Drink it quickly, it's too hot." Lingling took the watermelon juice and took a sip. It was so sweet, sweet to the heart. "Mom Lee, you also have a drink. Mom Lee is getting old and can't drink ice. This is specially reserved for you. I won't be able to eat ice with you, Uncle Chen." Yes, the two elderly people have been with their grandfather for many years and are also very knowledgeable about health preservation, so they are still very strong at the age of nearly 80. Mom Lee is really kind. Although Lingling is naturally cold, she never hesitates to express her feelings towards her family and friends. Lee's mother also looked at Lingling with affection, as if looking at her granddaughter. Lingling went to the herbal garden in the backyard and saw Chen Bo pacing between the gardens with his hands behind his back, constantly tilting his head to carefully examine the herbs. He was probably pondering which ones couldn't withstand the high temperature and needed to be harvested first. Chen Bo! Lingling shouted, but Chen Bo was extremely happy and said, "Oh, Lingling has returned. It's great. Come and help Chen Bo take a look." "It's too hot, what should we do?" Lingling said, "Don't worry, Uncle Chen. Grandpa has an ancient book that contains many methods for planting herbs under extreme conditions. I'll go up and take a look, and we'll make a decision." "That's great, I'm so worried. If you don't come, I'll call and ask you," Chen Bo said with relief. "Chen Bo, come with me quickly. It's still very hot outside, and you two should also pay attention to your health," he said as he pulled Chen Bo in. The old house is an ancient building that has been built for hundreds of years, and the wisdom of the ancients is still very mysterious. The design of the old house is warm in winter and cool in summer. Although air conditioning was later installed, the lobby on the first floor rarely had air conditioning on. Even if it was 38 degrees outside, it was not very hot in the lobby, and there were occasional gusts of light wind passing by, which were unnoticed. Upstairs in the study, Lingling began to search for ancient books when she suddenly saw the ancient medicine box left by her grandfather quietly placed in position C of the bookshelf. The medicine box was made of yellow pear, which was quite large, 50 centimeters long, 30 centimeters wide, and at least 60 centimeters high. The medicine box has 3 layers. When you open the lid, the first layer of the partition is divided into many compartments. When you pick up the partition, there is a second layer below it, with only one partition in the middle. The third layer is the 2 drawers on the outer front. The lid should have been touched by many ancestors and is very shiny. It is engraved with various herbal patterns and exquisitely carved. In the lower left corner, there is the seal script Ling Shi, which is said to have been bestowed upon the ancestors of the Ling family by the emperor. Lingling caressed the medicine box, recalling how her grandfather gave it to her in high school with great solemnity, telling many legendary stories of family medicine and the origin of the ancient medicine box. Moreover, her grandfather told Lingling that this ancient medicine box has a mysterious function that can be opened by descendants of the Ling family in times of crisis. But what kind of mysterious function and how to activate it specifically, Grandpa never mentioned it again, only saying that the activation of this mysterious function requires luck. Looking at the ancient medicine box, I recalled learning Chinese medicine with my grandfather, acupuncture and moxibustion every day, and the days and nights in the herb garden with my grandmother. Every herb has the impression of my grandmother. Lingling decided to bring the ancient medicine box back to the apartment, perhaps that opportunity was within her. I found the ancient book and roughly flipped through it. Before I could find the relevant content, I heard a refreshing voice coming up from the hall below. "Lingling, my precious Lingling, come down quickly, Lingling." Lingling knew immediately that it was Luo Lilan chasing after her. It was almost 6 o'clock, so no wonder she was in a hurry. I walked downstairs immediately, and on the stairs, I saw the delicate Lawton sitting on the sofa, holding on to Mom Lee's arm, sucking on watermelon juice, and flirting with Mom Lee. It was really unsightly. Chen Bo also looked at the elderly and the young with joy. When he saw Lingling coming down from upstairs, he immediately said, "Lingling, go over quickly. Look, Xiaolon is in a hurry." Lingling asked Uncle Chen calmly, "Uncle Chen, do you know Grandpa's ancient medicine box?" Chen Bo nodded and said, "In the early years, your grandfather took me out to see a doctor. I always carried the medicine box with me, which I carried for my master. I heard that your grandfather's father almost couldn't keep the ancient medicine box during that special decade. It was the general of the Ying family who saved it for the Ling family, otherwise it might have been destroyed long ago." Chen Bo sighed and said, "Unfortunately, although you learned traditional Chinese medicine with your grandparents, you didn't become a doctor in the end, so this ancient medicine box has become an antique decoration. Lingling was more concerned about the secret legend and continued to ask, "Have you heard my grandfather say about the legend of the ancient medicine box?" Chenbo carefully recalled, "I don't know about this anymore. It's really the secret of the ancient medicine box. It must have been told to the descendants of the Ling family, not my disciple." Lingling can only give up on the clue of Chenbo. It seems that she still needs to rely on her own research. Luolan was eager to urge her again, and Lingling said to Chenbo, "Chenbo, if you think you can collect the herbs, you should collect them first. If everything else doesn't work out, it's up to you." Then he followed Luolilan and the two of them, pushing and shoving, and happily headed towards the neighboring Ying's house. Chapter 3 Is Indeed Abnormal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The neighboring Ying family is a military family, with ancestors who were the founding generals hundreds of years ago. Ying's father was a retired general who was skilled in military management, while Ying's mother, whose surname was Ning, was a military doctor and skilled in surgery. At the age of only 36, Ying Di, who came from a special forces background, has also become the youngest general in China at present. The three siblings grew up together from a young age, and their relationship is stronger than that of family. Because all the elders of the Lingling family have passed away, the couple of the Ying family also have special affection for Lingling, just like their own daughter. During the banquet, chatting like a family member, Luolilan said fiercely, "Brother, you haven't been home for another 3 months, haven't you? You're so close and don't often come back to see your poor sister. Lingling is also so pitiful. You should come back and see her, too." After speaking, he looked pitifully at his brother with big eyes flickering. "I often see Brother D, but the only one I can't see is you," Lingling said calmly without leaving any face. "What? You two have a private meeting behind my back. You're dying. Mom. Lolatin cried to Ying's mother for help. Indi said, "Our R&D project is still in Lingling's hands. We will have a meeting to discuss the progress in a few days towards the end. What are you thinking about with your little head?" Luolan refused to accept defeat and rolled her eyes at her brother with a pitiful expression. I don't care. Anyway, she saw it, I didn't see it, so I'm not happy." Indi touched her sister's head and said indulgently, Yes, my sister is unhappy. It's all my brother's fault. What compensation does my sister want?" "Well, that's pretty good, let me think about it," Lolatin said proudly, and everyone laughed. The family was chatting and laughing at the dinner table, and the atmosphere was not harmonious. Lingling couldn't help but ask, "Brother D, the climate has been abnormal since spring this year. It's only May now and it's so hot. Have you heard any warning?" Before Ying Di could answer, Luolilan immediately said, "Lingling, isn't the end of the world coming?" Ying's mother immediately laughed and said, "Xiaolan, you've just read too many online novels. There's no such thing as the end of the world. Di, have you really heard any news?" Ying Di's father noticed his son's expression and asked, Di, have you really heard anything?" Ying Di immediately said, "It's not about the end of the world, it's just that our military has received some news that this year's climate may indeed be a bit abnormal, so we have made some deployments in advance." At this point, I didn't go on further. Everyone understands that military secrets cannot be further disclosed. So everyone switched to other topics, while Lingling planted the seeds of the end of the world in her heart. Before leaving, Ying Di roughly inquired about the progress of material research and development data. Lingling said it would be out soon and a report meeting could be organized next week. Farewell to her best friend's family, Lingling returned to her apartment with a heavy heart, and activated the one-click home mode. The fresh air system, air conditioning, and lighting were all turned on according to the settings. Having eaten too much at night, Ying's father and mother kept giving her groceries until she couldn't even drink enough water, so she didn't want to go to bed too early. Take out the ancient medicine box for research, toss and turn, look inside and out, but don't see any mechanism or anything like it. So he took out a small pair of tweezers and wanted to flip through it to see if there were any hidden patterns or something. Isn't that how they are all portrayed in TV dramas? So he carefully flipped through and poked with the tweezers. Lingling accidentally poked her finger and let out a hiss. Blood droplets quickly seeped out of her fingertips and dripped onto the medicine box. Lingling wanted to find a tissue to wipe her, but as she reached out to grab it, she suddenly felt dizzy. A white light flashed before her eyes, startling her. She didn't know what had happened. White light flashed by, and Lingling was in a strange place. Now she was confused, who I am and where I am. Lingling fixed her mind and looked around. Under her feet was a vast green grassland, and a stone road led to an antique wooden house more than 10 meters ahead. It was somewhat similar to her old house, except that it had 2 floors, which was one. There is a small pond on the right side of the house, not big, but connected to the stream on the mountain far behind the house. Walking inside again, I found a herbal garden behind the house. As I approached, my goodness, isn't this the herbal garden behind the old house? Lingling mixed in the herb garden when she was young. With her eyes closed, she could know where there were herbs in different herb planting layouts. So at a glance, she knew that this was the herb garden behind the old house. The layout was exactly the same. This surprised Lingling very much. Is this the space mentioned in the online novel that Luo Lilan read? It's just that this space is her herbal garden, but how did it come about? Lingling thought of the ancient medicine box and the blood dripping from her punctured finger. Although Lingling never reads online novels, she can't resist telling Luo Lilan everything she has to do. She is very familiar with various strange rebirths, golden fingers, space, and abilities. So, is this what Grandpa called the mysterious function? But my grandfather once said that the prerequisite for activating this mysterious function is in times of crisis, and then the chance for descendants of the Ling family to activate it. So chance is the blood that punctures the finger, so what is the critical moment? Lingling still doesn't know, but she vaguely feels like she knows something. I'm not sure about the specific functions of the space yet. After walking around, I found it to be very large, so big that I can't walk to the end. There are grasslands and farmland around, houses and water ponds, mountains, trees, and bamboo forests. What else is in the distance is unknown, and I can only slowly study it. With a sudden movement of her mind, Lingling returned to her study and had the opportunity to consult with Luo Lilan on how the novels she had read were all about, so she could learn on her own. It's already 11 o'clock, so Lingling couldn't sleep anymore. She ate too much, so it's better to exercise. The living room is very large, with 50 square meters and little furniture, only 3 comfortable single-person sofas and a laser projection screen. Other places are used to place fitness equipment. If it's too late to avoid affecting neighbors, do yoga and stretching. Adjusting your breathing can also help with sleep. After work, even though Lingling was busy, she never gave up on exercising and lived a very disciplined life. The top floor of the Research Institute building also has her own rented apartment room, which only has a bed, a treadmill, and a yoga mat. When the weather is good, she will go out for a morning run, and when the weather is bad, she will run on the treadmill. She will do yoga before going to bed at night. Lingling believes that a disciplined lifestyle is essential to always maintain high-quality physical fitness and cope with unexpected events that may occur at any time. The research and development of new materials came to a very smooth conclusion. A report meeting was quickly held, and technical handover was carried out with the military production party. 2 students were assigned to be stationed in the factory as technical support to follow up on the large-scale production of materials. Other projects are being carried out by small groups, and Lingling's own project has come to an end. For some reason, she doesn't want to take over other research projects at the moment and wants to give herself a big break. On the morning of May 6, 3 senior directors, who are the supervisors of 3 laboratories in the research institute, were invited to arrange follow-up work. They informed themselves that they would take a long vacation and their work reports could be arranged online. The 3 directors are very supportive and understanding. They all know that teacher Ling has been working too hard lately and hope that she can rest well. So Lingling began to take a big vacation. Lingling, who vaguely felt the strange climate, started exploring after returning home. As a senior materials scientist, Lingling has always been interested in new technologies around the world. In addition to some official published papers, she also goes to the dark web to learn more professional information, and even makes purchases. Anyway, we are a private independent research institute and do not belong to any large companies or official organizations. It doesn't matter if we make some small moves. Lingling said that this is just another means of obtaining information, that's all. Open the familiar dark web, browse through recommended and popular posts first, and then read the climate column. A less popular post piqued Lingling's interest. The title was not attractive, but it hit Lingling's heart: eerie climate, apocalyptic indication. Lingling clicked on the title without any highlights or interesting words. The description of the post is just as boring as the title, such as the abnormal climate this year, as well as some professional analysis of historical meteorological data and future meteorological predictions. In short, it's just a bunch of charts and data, which looks very professional but also really boring. However, there was one final sentence that pierced Lingling's heart. The end of the day is approaching, and humanity is disappearing. Others may think of it as writing novels or being bored, but Lingling inexplicably feels that it coincides with her worries. There are also scattered replies below, all of which are indifferent, sarcastic or perfunctory. Ah, yes, it's the end of the world, haha. The author of the post is called DN. When you click on DN's dark web homepage, there are basically various professional information stickers, including meteorological, radio, and military. There is everything, but they are all monotonous and boring. Lingling has already determined that this is an information straight man. Click on the message on the website to contact DN, which is very direct. Hello DN, I am very interested in your weather doomsday indicator. Please discuss it in detail and purchase at a high price. Since he is a straight man, it's good to give him simple and straightforward information. Soon, the chat system on the site started flashing, and the other party quickly replied, okay, you can discuss in detail, add friends, and communicate through exclusive chat software. Due to the need to ensure everyone's privacy, the dark web chat has dedicated software that encrypts and protects all identity information such as the IP addresses of both parties. It is basically not difficult for top hackers to crack, and has been running for many years without any errors. Dark web customers are very satisfied. LL, Lingling. Hello DN, hello LL. Besides the information on the post, what other information do you have? DN. I have been following the issue of the end of the world for a long time, and in recent years, I have collected a lot of information. Based on data and decryption of confidential information from various countries, this year may be a crucial year. LL. What does a crucial year mean? DN. I have 2 reports, from the United States and Europe. You will know after reading them. LL, okay, the price. DN. 2 reports are packaged at a price of 8 million yuan. LL, sure. DN, prepay 2 million yuan, send the report within approximately 2 hours, and pay the remaining 6 million yuan after successful and satisfactory delivery. LL, okay, pay now. Chapter 4. 3-month vacation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was no extra conversation. Lingling's intuition told her that this DN was very reliable, and she didn't know why. Lingling's parents had a private traditional Chinese medicine hospital before their death. Due to her grandfather's prominent position in the field of traditional Chinese medicine, the hospital has gained some fame both domestically and internationally. After his parents left, Grandpa maintained the hospital for a few years. However, as he grew older and Lingling was still young, he transferred the hospital to Uncle Fei, another proud student of Grandpa, and left 10% of Lingling's shares as a souvenir. Lingling received a large inheritance and opened her own independent research institute after graduation. The strength of the institute cannot be underestimated, and she has earned a lot through research projects for over a decade. I forgot to say that Lingling is a prodigy-level academic achiever who became a young college student after 3 jumps, so she only graduated with a postdoctoral degree at the age of 22. Lingling currently has approximately 800 million disposable cash assets, excluding the hidden value of shares in research institutes and traditional Chinese medicine hospitals. Yes, Lingling is a reliable little rich woman. The advance payment was paid successfully soon, and DN began to transmit the report. Because it took 2 hours, Lingling poured a cup of scented tea and sat in the French window of the balcony to empty herself. If it really is the end of the world, how long will it be? What kind of disaster will it be? What needs to be prepared for? Who should be protected? Where to take refuge, and with whom? The more you think about it, the more confused your mind becomes. Thinking that I haven't figured out my space yet, I should be able to store things. So, I'll stock up on more supplies and make a list later. Lingling herself had not yet realized that the report she had bought for 8 million had not been read, and she had already firmly believed that the end of the world was coming. No, I can't let myself be so anxious. I just got stuck before I could do anything. Spread out the yoga mat, call the smart speaker to play meditation music, sit cross-legged and start meditation, truly empty yourself and reduce anxiety. After half an hour of meditation, Lingling felt less anxious and opened her phone to call her best friend, Luo Lilan. Lingling Nyo, what are you doing? Luolalan. Just finished class. Hey, why are busy people available today? Lingling. I enlarged my vacation. Luolalan. Wow, really? But I can't take a vacation, there are still classes. Lingling. It's okay. You can put aside the laboratory work. As long as there are no classes, we can swim, climb rocks, and take a walk around the shooting club. Luolalan. Sister, aren't you? We should go shopping, have a spa, and have afternoon tea during our vacation. Lingling Nyo, can we not be so vulgar? Luolalan. Okay, I'm vulgar. You're aloof. Humph. Lingling Nyo Guai, I'll make you something delicious. What do you want to eat? Sister, I'll cook it myself. Luolalan. Ah, good. I want to eat spicy pot, sushi, 1,000-layer cheesecake, and a cup of sister's special milk tea. Lingling Fui. What kind of pairing are you? Spicy fragrant pot with sushi. It's okay to pair a 1,000-layer cake with milk tea. Hey Lolatan. I don't care, I just love to eat like this, especially the food you make. It's a bit rough. Lingling. Okay, girl is the biggest. We can do whatever girl wants to eat. Luolalan. Hee, my Lingling is the best. I don't have any classes this afternoon. I'll come over soon. Do you want to go shopping together? Lingling. Alright, let me pick you up at the supermarket. Luolalan. Okay, wait for you hang up the phone and see if it's almost time. Lingling walked to the study, and there were still 15 minutes left. DN message. Hello LL, I have something to do offline. After the transmission is completed, you can transfer the final payment yourself and contact me online. Lingling looked at it and realized that he was also a big-hearted person. He ran away without looking at the payment. Lingling went to pack and change clothes, ready to go out after the transaction was completed. She was in a good mood and tied her hair, changing into a set of sun protection casual clothes, light goose yellow, a bit playful. Going back to the computer, the transmission was just completed. Excited and trembling, I clicked on the report. The English report was unbeatable for our academic leader Lingling. I roughly looked at the table of contents and flipped to the last few pages, like a lightning strike. 3 months. The countdown to the end of the world is 3 months. Hey, pay the final payment and go out. Driving towards the Haisher University of Science and Technology where Luolilan is located, Lingling doesn't want to dwell on the remaining 3 months. Today, she will transform into a little cook. My best friends haven't made plans to go shopping together for a long time. They each push a cart and sweep the goods as if they don't want money. Bubble water, fatty house water, yogurt, fruit juice, steak, spicy and fragrant pot ingredients, salmon, tuna, Arctic scallops, sea urchins, and beef tongue. I want everything, I want everything. Lolatin is like she hasn't eaten for a month, crazily grabbing and grabbing. Lingling smiled and said to her, "Nyo, are we unable to live or are we unable to live?" Luolilan chuckled and said, "Oh, I'm going to eat from a big family today. How about that? It's not possible." "Sure, you can do whatever you want, Sister Pays." Lingling looked at her childish best friend, and if the end of the world were just like this, it would be great. She unconsciously sighed. Luolilan turned to look at Lingling and said, What's wrong? Why are you sighing?" Sisters are very sensitive to each other's emotional changes. "It's okay, let's have the best food today." Lingling adjusted her mood instantly and said, "Okay, let's go, keep going." Luolilan was happy like a child, and the imperial sister Lingling followed her helplessly with a smile, putting some essential ingredients into the car. Cooking Lady Ling was so busy in the kitchen that she flew up. There are spicy and fragrant ingredients cooked in the pot, the chef's machine is beating the egg mixture to make a cake, and the juicer doesn't forget to make a glass of juice for Lolatin who is playing games in the living room. Return to the kitchen to process the bought yusheng, slice, set the plate, mix various sauces, and the sushi rice in the electric rice cooker smells. The sun has gone down, and the heat has dissipated slightly. The French window on the 30th floor looks beautiful. "Nyo, get ready for dinner." Lingling called out to Luolilan, "Go wash your hands and wipe off your sweat before you come back." Lingling treated Luolilan like a younger sister. "Okay, come right away." Lolatin responded. A large bowl of spicy hot pot, filled with Lolatin's favorite black tiger shrimp, duck gizzards, beef tongue, beef chops, and lunch meat. Lolatin, who came from a wealthy family, had such a strange contradiction in her preferences that she wished she could put top-grade caviar in the spicy hot pot. They called it the combination of gods, but Lingling couldn't appreciate her divine combination after all these years. The beautiful black flower plate is surrounded by various sushi, with sashimi and sea urchins in the middle. The 1,000-layer cheesecake is decorated with blueberries, which looks very delicious. Luolilan rushed to the table like a gust of wind, sat down and took a big mouthful of Sisters' special milk tea with ice. "Ah juajizi, sisters." Luolilan praised without stint, and then began to eat a spicy pot, a sushi, a spicy pot, and a sashimi. Lingling looked at her and shook her head. "Nyo, what kind of way are you eating? I can't understand how her strange dietary combination is formed." Seeing that she had eaten enough, Lingling said, "I'm planning to take a 3-month vacation until August. You'll be on summer vacation in July. Let's find a place to go on vacation together." Upon hearing this, Luolilan was very surprised and said, "I have been working for more than 10 years and have never seen you take a 3-month vacation. What's the big deal?" We got to know each other too well, and such a strange behavior made Lolatin realize something was wrong. Lingling pretended to be relaxed and said, "Do you believe me, Nyo?" "Just kidding, I don't believe who you believe. Just say, 'Sure, is fragrant, I believe it.'" Lingling helped her forehead again, "We're still eating, it's really speechless." Luolilan laughed. "Don't pretend to be an arrogant elder sister. No one can tell what virtue our sisters have. Don't you know? Lingling pretended to be angry and glanced at Luo Lilan, saying, "Anyway, I haven't rested for a long time. I want the two of us to take a vacation together. If Di Gu has time, we can also go together. The last time we'll go on a trip together is my high school graduation trip, right?" Luo thought for a moment and said, "It's really amazing. After so many years, everyone is busy with their careers after graduation. I'm still the easiest one. Although I have a laboratory, I can rest for a few days during winter and summer vacations, unlike you and my brother. My brother doesn't mention it, he can't see me once in a few months. No wonder I don't have a sister. Law. Which woman can handle his working hours? So, I'll try to advance my summer vacation time as much as possible. As long as I finish the exam, I'll withdraw and then look at his time. His time is the most difficult, so let him make a last-minute decision. Well, that's okay. I'll take care of the itinerary. Anyway, I've been on vacation for the past 2 months. You just need to come out of school and follow me. Are you afraid I'll kidnap and sell you?" Lingling looked at Luo Lilan playfully. "Oh, then I have to help you count the money. Don't sell the wrong amount." Two people burst out laughing. Chapter 5. What is space? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. After eating, the sisters chatted in the living room, ate snacks, and watched cartoons. As she chatted, Luo Lilan naturally talked about the various online novels she had read. Lingling followed suit and asked what the space in the novels was like, silently remembering the strange functions of various spaces that Luo Lilan mentioned. She planned to wait until tomorrow when Luo Lilan went to school to study the functions of the space, whether it could store materials, what its capacity was, whether it could be used for planting and breeding, and whether it could be used for live animals. Well, there are indeed many functions that need to be confirmed. The next day, Luo Lilan got up early and took a taxi without waking Lingling. Lingling slept until almost 10 o'clock when she woke up naturally. Unexpectedly, 3 months after learning about the countdown to the end of the world, she still slept so well. Perhaps it was the company of Luo Lilan that relieved her anxiety. Getting up to wash up, taking 2 slices of bread, pouring out a glass of milk, I sat in front of the computer and began carefully reading 2 reports worth 8 million yuan. The report from the United States has a considerable number of pages, with a total of 200 pages. It provides detailed analysis, charts, data, and even satellite imagery on various aspects, from meteorological changes to changes in flora and fauna, to changes in Earth's tectonic plates and volcanic activity. No wonder the report takes so long to transmit. Lingling is not a professional and cannot understand the data of these professions at all. She can only understand some descriptive conclusions after each chapter, so she no longer worries about the rationality of these data and whether the logic of analysis is reasonable. These are not things she can judge. Looking at the European report again, although it is only a short 80 pages, of course, 80 pages are not short, but it is a bit less than the 200 pages of the United States. The general conclusion is similar. The judgment is all for 3 months, which is August 2088. Of course, it is impossible to specify which day it will be. However, Lingling believes that there will be more obvious meteorological phenomena in the near future, so the specific date is not a concern. For Lingling, what is certain is that the end of the world is really coming, so 3 months of preparation should be enough. So I opened the dark web chat software. Hello, I need to prepare for the end of the day. DN, LL. Do you have any doomsday preparation materials? DN. Yes. LL, price. DN, 5 million, full set of information package price. This includes a list of knowledge reserves, material lists, safe house design plans, and more. LL, okay, I'll pay the full amount directly. DN, okay, send it immediately. The file covers a lot of content and there are also many video materials. The sending time is about 3 hours. LL, paid, please check receipt DN, data transmission in progress. The transaction between the two was as simple and rough as ever. Lingling is not in a hurry to prepare, just wait for the data transmission to be completed before speaking. So my mind changed and entered space. Last time I was still in a state of confusion, I just took a rough look at the space environment and didn't carefully examine the facilities in the space. So I walked into the antique house first. The entrance was a foyer, about 2 square meters long, with shelves on both sides for shoes, umbrellas, and so on. If you enter the house, you need to go up a step and the floor is very clean. So Lingling took off her slippers and walked barefoot into the interior of the house. The one facing inside should be a living room, without any furniture or decorations, about 60 square meters. There are 2 doors on each side, and when you enter, it looks like a room of about 30 square meters. There are also 2 doors on both sides of the background wall of the living room, and when you enter, it looks like another room of about 60 square meters. The difference is that the living room is a square, and the back is a rectangle, which should be the kitchen. Lingling likes it very much because she likes cooking, so she likes a big kitchen. But the room is empty, with nothing but 2 large windows and 1 door. Pushing open the door reveals the herbal garden. Lingling was very embarrassed. She came in from her room and was still wearing slippers. So she flashed out of space and took 2 pairs of casual shoes in. That's right, it's also convenient to replace them. Sister thought it was so thoughtful. I also saw the herb garden before, and confirmed that it was the same as the herb garden of the old house, but I don't know whether the herb garden of the old house is still there. I will go out and call Uncle Chen to ask. Behind the herbal garden is a bamboo forest, with arable land on the left, which is quite large and estimated to be no less than 100 acres. The right side is adjacent to a stream, and Lingling has also learned how to plant it before. In the future, there should be no need to worry about fruits and vegetables. Returning to the open space in front of the house, there are some empty sheds in the slightly distant open space, which should be used for breeding poultry, but they are just empty sheds and food troughs. There are no other things left, such as fences, or cages. Oh, this is too perfunctory, Lingling complained inwardly. Coming back to the small pond, it was an irregular circular pond with a diameter of about 5 meters. There were no flowers, grass, or fish inside. Yes, there was nothing, but the water was very clear. Lingling unconsciously bent down and drank some water in her hand. Wow, it was really a bit sweet, not fake. So is this drinkable water, or is it drinking water directly? Lingling thought of going back and taking some samples to test, and then remembered what Luo Lilan said about the space spirit spring. If there were any magical substances, she wouldn't dare to test them. Looking further away, there are mountains and lush greenery, but it's hard to see what trees are on top. I thought I would take my time to see them in the future. So I exited the space, remembered something, went to the refrigerator to get an ice cream, and poured a cup of hot water together on the floor of the wooden house in the space. Returning to the apartment study, start planning how to enrich the space and make it a suitable place for living first, then consider other additional functions such as planting and breeding. After 2 hours of transferring files on the computer, I started browsing shopping apps on my phone and adding equipment to my small home. Lingling belongs to the semi-minimalist category. Why do we say half? It means that all rooms except the kitchen are as simple as possible, as long as they are practical, and completely adopt a minimalist style. As soon as she arrived in the kitchen, Lingling began to go crazy, with various pots and utensils, different styles of tableware, cupware, small ornaments, kitchen appliances, big appliances, a variety of cooking machines, large refrigerators, large freezers, and even spatulas and knives. So Lingling started to buy from a simple bedroom, with a uniform log bed, wardrobe, writing desk, and 4 plain color bed products and curtains. That means that the 4 rooms are identical except for the different colors of bed products and curtains, and the main feature is one copy and paste. The living room is even simpler, simply copying your own living room, with 4 single-person sofas, a 100-inch laser projection screen, and various fitness equipment as the main characters. These were all resolved within 30 minutes, with a focus on being simple and rough. So we started purchasing in the kitchen, brought a laser measuring instrument into the space, measured the kitchen dimensions in detail, and then flashed out of the space. We started a crazy shopping spree, customizing the wooden cabinets in the kitchen, including 2 large refrigerators, 2 large freezers, 2 wine cabinets, 2 snack cabinets, 2 fruit cabinets, 2 beverage cabinets, and 2 ice cream cabinets. Oven, steamer, dishwasher, chef's machine, various cooking machines, beautiful tableware, cookware, knives, cups, buy, baking tools, pastry molds. In short, it is more complete and professional than the kitchen of a 5-star restaurant. The bedroom and living room are cold, and the kitchen is crazy. I bought brands that I am familiar with in my daily life, and occasionally bought some recommended new products. Unconsciously, my computer prompted me that the file transfer was completed. After clicking on the folder and dragging the mouse for a while to see the bottom of the file list, Lingling was stunned. This 5 million is really worth it. Suddenly Lingling remembered a question, so LL. After the end of the day, if I have any further questions to consult, how can I find you? DN, good question. After waiting for a few minutes, Lingling patiently waited. DN. It can be converged in the late July days, but various communication tools may not be useful after the end of July. LL, okay, please contact us again. It was happily decided that an inexplicable sense of trust formed between 2 strangers. Before going to bed, Lingling used her mind to take out the ice cream and hot water that had been put into the space in the morning. The ice cream was the same as the one just taken out of the refrigerator, and the hot water was still a hot cup. It was great, and the experiment ended. So the next week will be Lingling's time to decorate the space and houses, as well as to read the materials of the Apocalypse Guide. Every day is a very regular life, receiving goods, entering the space, installing and decorating, cooking and eating, exercising, and arguing with Lolaton during breaks. During this period, Lingling also held an online meeting with 3 senior directors, and considered the issue of asset realization after reading the materials. A busy and fulfilling week has passed quickly, and the space and houses have been decorated. Looking at the crowded kitchen, Lingling said that sister is so powerful. However, suddenly there is a question, what about electricity? All the appliances were just placed there, without sockets or wiring, and Lingling suddenly felt empty and happy. So I went out to continue watching solar power generation, and neither the old house nor the apartment had this demand, so I did overlook it at first. But as a materials engineer, Lingling has also studied electrical engineering and obtained certification, making it easy to handle. After a brief overview of the functions of solar panels, I came up with a design plan. The space has ample sunlight and there is no night, so solar energy is the best source of electricity. I quickly placed an order to purchase the best solar panels, made the maximum utilization plan according to the roof area, and bought 20 super large capacity batteries and 20 portable batteries for future use. While waiting, Lingling began to plan her apocalyptic preparation list. The content in the materials is really rich, but there are indeed many that are not suitable for her, so Lingling quickly listed a few main tasks. Firstly, there is no doubt about hoarding materials. As for the details of what to hoard, a very detailed list needs to be made, and one cannot think of where to buy from. Secondly, build a safe house, and the specific setting and decoration team can refer to the information provided in the materials. Thirdly, there is a backup safe house, an underground building, but it is not suitable for plate changes and may be flattened by the plates, so it is only a backup. Fourthly, transportation, vehicles, ships, and airplanes depend on the budget, and cannot be omitted in terms of sea, land, and air. Fifth, communication tools. I don't know to what extent communication will be lost after the end of the day, but I estimate that mobile phones are useless. Satellite phones or walkie-talkies should be a good choice, and radios should also be prepared. Anyway, we have all learned. Sixth, a variety of information reserves, including books, technical papers, and various educational video materials, as well as various entertainment videos, may not be available in the future, so download as many as possible. Finally, the seventh and most important person. Be sure to bring Yinglan and Yingdi with you. As for Chen Bo and Li Mama, as well as Ying's father and mother, they may need to consider separately. After all, they are old and seek stability, but who knows how to stay stable. Dian, on the other hand, is an essential partner. Although they don't actually know each other in reality, through two simple and rough transactions, the two of them actually reached a preliminary intention to form a group. Chapter 6. Safe House Orders. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. It's already mid-May, the high temperature is still ongoing, and it hasn't rained for a long time. Lingling looked at the scorching sun hanging in the sky, her sense of unease growing stronger and stronger. There are still over 2 months left, and there are too many things to prepare. I don't have time to mourn for myself, so I roll up my sleeves and work hard. Boosting her spirits, Lingling began to contact an internationally ranked security company recommended in her profile and placed an order for a safe house. Soon, the other party had their first online communication with Lingling. Lingling has chosen a suitable safe house, which is the top-floor apartment of the Blue Ocean building where the research institute is located. The design of buildings in high-tech development zones takes into account the large number of laboratories, so the seismic, explosion-proof, and flood prevention indices are very high. Moreover, Lingling chose the research institute in that building because she was interested in the design of a full-floor apartment on the top floor, with a variety of room types and suitable sizes. Considering that she and her employees needed rest rooms during busy experimental periods, she rented 6 independent apartments connected together. Lingling's own apartment is quite large. The original 2 rooms were converted into 1 large room, and the living room and kitchen became 1 large kitchen. These 6 apartments are located at the easternmost end of the corridor and are easily separated from other rooms. The most crucial thing is that the apartments on the top floor of the building are rented by various companies for employees who occasionally work overtime to rest and use. They are rarely inhabited during normal times, and if the end of the day comes, there will be fewer neighbors, which also avoids many unnecessary troubles. So I arranged for the security company to conduct an on-site survey of the house in the afternoon. There is still time in the morning. Lingling opened the installation instructions video for the solar panel and started learning. When she came back, she installed the solar panel in the space. After a simple lunch, I set off for the Blue Ocean building. After meeting with the security company's liaison manager Lin and the designer, I went to the top floor to discuss my design requirements. All 6 rooms were converted into safe houses, and a door was opened between Lingling's apartment and a neighboring apartment for easy mobility, which was reserved for Luo Lilan. Safe houses require the use of the latest and best explosion-proof, earthquake-resistant, thermal insulation and sound insulation materials. All glass windows should be replaced with double-layer latest explosion-proof, bulletproof space glass, covered with single-sided anti-peeping and sun protection film. Electric underfloor heating should also be arranged to minimize the design of smart homes. Who knows if there will be enough power to support these appliances? Solar panels need to be applied to the property management, and water supply and drainage should be separated and circulated independently from the building. In addition, it was mentioned that a backup safe house can be arranged at an vacant construction site behind the building, with the entrance passing through the building garage. The communication and permission with the property management are hoped to be handled by the security company, and other details will be supplemented by the designer. The designer promised to provide the design plan tomorrow, and Lingling's most concern is how long it can be delivered for use after the plan is confirmed. Manager Lin immediately said, "Miss Ling, rest assured that as the world's #1 security company, we have business dealings with major property management companies, and communication with them is definitely not a problem. After the plan is confirmed, we will complete and deliver it within 1 month. Lingling nodded and said, okay. Also, I have a special need. I'm not sure if your company can take it on. Lingling thought of weapons. Perhaps the security company can purchase them on her behalf. Manager Lin, adhering to the principle of customer first, said, Miss Ling, please speak up and we will do our best. Lingling pulled Manager Lin to a separate room and whispered, I need a batch of weapons. I know security companies can hold guns, but our country has strict control over them. We can arrange what Miss Ling needs, but the cost will be relatively high. We will also sign a confidentiality agreement with Miss Ling. Once any problems occur, our company will not assume any responsibility, and Miss Ling cannot disclose the source of the weapons to anyone. Manager Lin said calmly. Lingling heard this and said, oh, familiar with the world. It seems that those wealthy people have weapons like this. Lingling is an old member of the shooting club, and in addition, Luo Lilan is also proficient in firearms, so she is very familiar with firearms. Taking out a handwritten list from his pocket, Manager Lin understood it at a glance. He is a clear person and handwriting is safe. Glancing at the list, he said, no problem, most of these can be provided, but the number of bullets is a bit large. Lingling immediately said, try your best. If it doesn't work out, you can buy as much as you want. The money is not a problem. I will also cover your service fee. Manager Lin immediately said, Miss Ling, don't worry, we will try our best to meet this quantity. It may take a little longer, about 2 weeks. Do you think it's okay? No problem, let me know together when you hand over the house. You can include the quotation in the budget of the safe house. Just create a project content and let me know verbally. The two reached an agreement. After returning home, Lingling flashed into the space and began installing the solar panels. Although she was skilled in screwing screws, the quantity was too large for anyone to help. After installation and debugging, it was already 10 p.m. in the evening. The sun was shining brightly in the space, and Lingling didn't feel it falling into the night. However, her stomach protested and she immediately returned to her apartment. There was a frozen pizza in the refrigerator, and after a simple dinner, she transferred many ingredients from the kitchen into the space, organized them with her mind, and returned to the space, wanting to try the bathroom in the space. Turn on the shower and the hot water will soon come out. Lingling feels that the apocalypse should not be too difficult, at least it can ensure that the space can be used for bathing and cooking, which can fully meet normal living needs. The water in the bathroom comes from the stream that comes down from the mountain. Lingling has installed a water pump for daily use, and the water is discharged into the fields outside, serving as a vegetable garden. It was already late after finishing my work. After finishing yoga, Lingling went to sleep peacefully. After 2 busy weeks, taking a vacation was even more tiring than going to work. However, due to sufficient preparation for the end of the day, I felt much more at ease. There are still many things to prepare for in the future, and one must rest well before continuing the battle. Yesterday, from afternoon to evening in the space, we were installing solar energy in water pumps. Lingling got up late today. At around 10 o'clock, I was awakened by the ringing of my phone. It was Manager Lin from the security company who said, "Good morning, Miss Ling. The plan has been prepared overnight and I just sent it to you. Please take a look, and we will have an online communication with you later. Let's see together what details you still need to adjust." Lingling was a bit confused when she woke up, but she habitually said, "Thank you for your hard work. I'll see you online in half an hour." After washing up, Lingling made a simple sandwich, heated up a glass of milk, called the smart home assistant to lower the air conditioning 1 more degree, and then opened the design plan to start reading. It seems to be getting hotter outside today. There are no clouds in the sky, only the slightly red sun is still working hard. This is the rhythm of exceeding the KPI. Half an hour later, the designer began to introduce some important design points in the safe house plan to Lingling in detail online. Miss Ling, the overall design of the safe house adopts the latest high-density alloy materials for the space station, with a wall thickness of 40 centimeters and much higher strength than the current bank vault. The safety factor is about 3 times that of the bank. Glass is made of a new type of alloy material from the space station, which is currently manufactured by the Combat Nation. It is processed into a sheet metal with nanometer precision, and its transparency is similar to that of glass. Strictly speaking, this is not glass, except for its transparency, which is no less than that of glass. Its thermal insulation and anti-peeping effects are like alloy walls. Unless a meteorite is hit from the sky, ordinary bullets cannot cause any damage to this glass. The ceiling of safety houses is designed to achieve a strength of 500 meters underwater, ensuring that they can withstand pressure and prevent water seepage even when submerged by floods. This design is particularly important for underground safety houses, unless they are strongly compressed due to crustal movement. Underground safety houses are the safest choice for general earthquakes. The furniture in the safe room is made of solid wood according to Miss Ling's requirements, movable, and the electrical configuration is customized according to Miss Ling's brand requirements. The floor heating is laid with the latest waterproof and seismic materials, so even if accidentally flooded, it will not damage the floor heating system. In addition, we have developed 2 sets of power supply systems and reserved external interfaces. In addition to the high-efficiency solar panels and diesel generators on the top floor, the reserved external interfaces are designed to prevent any other power generation equipment, including large batteries, from being connected externally in case of generator failure. The water circulation is also a separate system, and the roof is equipped with a constant temperature water tank to ensure that it will not freeze even at -50 degrees Celsius. If it is below -50 degrees Celsius, the electric heating system can be activated to prevent icing. There is also an independent water tank for purification treatment in the drainage system, which can be used for flushing toilets and watering flowers. The purification can reach the drinking level, but it is not recommended for Miss Ling to drink. In addition to the building's safety staircase, we have also opened an additional door at the end of the corridor. There is a simple escape ladder hanging outside, which is usually hidden and pasted on the exterior wall. Generally, outsiders do not notice it. As long as the safety door is opened, the escape ladder will automatically unfold. Special attention, this escape ladder and door are one-way and can only be used by Miss Ling when walking outside the building. They automatically close and cannot be opened from outside, and outsiders cannot open them from outside. In addition, we are also considering setting up an escape route from the safe house to the roof of the building for Miss Ling to use air support to leave the building. The specific design will depend on the actual construction situation. We also designed a folding safety door in the corridor. After it was put into use, Miss Ling's 6 safety rooms were completely isolated from the other apartments on the top floor. For the convenience of Miss Ling to check the surrounding situation, pinhole cameras have been installed in every corner of the corridor to the elevator, making it difficult for us to operate in other areas. At present, the overall design plan is like this. Does Miss Ling have any modification suggestions or other additional requirements? Lingling listened while pondering. After the designer finished introducing her, she raised her own question, mainly regarding the underground safety house. What is the depth of the underground safety house from the ground? Is water and solar energy designed like the top safety house, and how are the ventilation openings arranged? The designer answered one by one, and Lingling was very satisfied, so she passed the design plan and asked the security company to start work immediately. Afterwards, every 3 days, the designer would send a renovation progress report to Lingling, and if there were any problems, they would communicate and adjust in a timely manner. Everything went smoothly according to plan, and Lingling felt another sense of peace of mind. Chapter 7. Bye 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 bye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After more than half a month of continuous high temperatures and not a single drop of rain, many places have already experienced drought problems. The authorities have begun to remind everyone to save water. Air conditioning should not be too cold to save electricity, as resources are irreversible. And remind the public to minimize going out to prevent sunburn, and pay attention to sun protection when going out. Many people complain about the eerie high-temperature weather while turning on their air conditioning to resist continuous high temperatures. At this time, people do not know that they will no longer be able to use such comfortable air conditioning in the next 2 months. Lingling began planning a stocking list, including food, medicine, clothing, daily chemicals, furniture, home textiles, tools, electrical appliances, building materials, various vegetables, rice seeds, live poultry, fish and shrimp, fruit trees, energy materials, and even some small and easy-to-operate production machines, as well as transportation and communication tools previously considered. There are too many things to buy. Lingling first rented a warehouse near the research institute, and then found a trading company to be responsible for all the procurement work. After all, there is specialization in the craft industry, so she only needs to buy some things she likes to eat, drink, and play as supplements. Xiao Hai, who was responsible for procurement at the research institute, recommended several trading companies, and Lingling personally communicated and selected them. After 2 rounds of communication, Lingling has selected a trading company with a background in the group company to undertake this procurement. The person in charge is a shrewd and capable sister Sinan, who is around 40 years old. She not only has a clear idea, but also has a meticulous mind. During the communication process, she quickly responded and added many details that Lingling missed, which Lingling greatly admires. Although the packaging price is a bit expensive, Lingling thinks that you get what you pay for, and the money is worth it. The total procurement budget is around 500 million yuan, and food and medicine can be used by 10 people for at least 50 years. The main expenses are on transportation and communication tools, and some production and experimental equipment are also relatively expensive. Lingling roughly estimated her other invisible assets, with a total of around 1.2 billion yuan, indicating a sufficient budget. After handing over the procurement work to Sinan with peace of mind, he contacted DN again. LL. I need to download some electronic materials. DN. What range? LL, various books, academic reports, papers, skill videos, entertainment videos, movies and TV dramas, anime. Try to have as many as possible, and also provide information on fees. DN. No problem, I already have a portion here. If not, I will download it again. I also need these things, 2 million. LL, okay, pay now. DN. After all downloads and storage are completed, I will send you the hard drive by express delivery and provide a shipping address. Lingling gave him the address of his research institute, and the recipient was Xiao Hai, a purchaser. LL. This is my company's address. DN. Expected to be sent out in 2 weeks. LL. Okay. Once again, a simple and rough transaction was completed, and the transaction between Yenling and DN had reached a point where people didn't say much. Afterwards, Lingling began to freely buy and sell various snacks, drinks, alcoholic beverages, and takeout that she liked. After all, some things were still difficult to make on her own, and through experimental space, the freshness of the food could be preserved. The takeout was always hot when taken out. There are also various Chinese breakfasts such as barbecued kebabs, spicy hot pot, steamed buns, wonton, deep-fried dough sticks, soybean milk, pizza, hamburgers, fried chicken, fried kebabs, and other high-calorie, unhealthy fast foods. The raw fish, sushi, and other fresh foods are purchased in 1,000 portions. The stalls order a little each day separately, and the hotels and restaurants can order and deliver together if they can. A few days ago, Lingling had already ordered various shelves online. A portion of the raw wood material was used to store ingredients, medicines, daily chemical products, clothes, etc., while a portion of the steel frame structure was used to place some heavier building materials or appliances. A large area was specifically selected in the space, neatly arranged and filled with shelves, like a large warehouse in a shopping mall. In addition to buying and selling at home every day, Xiao Hai also had to go to the warehouse in the evening to collect the goods he had already received into the space. Xiao Hai was very sensible. Why did Ling find a trading company, and why did the goods he collected from the warehouse disappear the next day? He never asked, but obediently followed Ling's request to go to the warehouse early every morning to wait for the goods to be received, and then left the list in the warehouse to finish work. The received goods were diverse, including vegetables and fruits, chickens, ducks, and fish that were still alive, and pigs, cows, and mutton that were also alive. Even after receiving these, Xiao Hai calmly accepted them without asking any more questions, which made Lingling silently give Xiao Hai 36 likes in her heart. I was about to call Lawlerton to schedule afternoon tea when my phone rang first. It was an unfamiliar phone number. Lingling picked it up and said, "Hey, who is that?" A pleasant female voice came from across. "Hello, Miss Ling, I am Ming Lai, the president of Yunzhong Group." Lingling was surprised and said, "Hello Mr. Ming, what can I do for you?" Yunzhong Group is the group company behind the trading company that undertook Lingling's purchase this time. Lingling naturally knows, but she doesn't know why the president of the group would directly contact her. Ming Lai immediately said, "Miss Ling, it's like this. There is an aircraft item in your purchase list, and the requirement mentioned is a helicopter or fighter jet. Due to the high difficulty of this requirement, the trade company's Sinan asked me for help. I hope to directly communicate with Miss Ling about the specific requirements before arranging the purchase." Lingling understood the purpose of the call and straightforwardly stated her requirements. It would be best to have a fighter jet. "Of course, I know that fighter jets may be a bit difficult, so I came back and said that helicopters can also be used." Ming Lai smiled and said, "Miss Ling, don't worry. I have connections and can buy a fighter jet, but I cannot guarantee that it is the latest model. It may just be retired, but the quality and combat effectiveness can be guaranteed. Miss Ling has any requirements for fighter jets, and I can try my best to meet them." Ling's mood instantly brightened up. "That's great, as long as the combat effectiveness is acceptable, the aircraft material should be explosion-proof and bulletproof, and the takeoff conditions should be able to adapt to various environments for fast takeoff. The flight noise is low, and it's best to be invisible, and can accommodate about 10 people. Understood, this requirement is not too high. I already have similar resources on hand, but I need to confirm the details again. I will reply to Miss Ling in 2 days. If confirmed, we will arrange delivery in about 2 weeks, can you?" Ming Lai quickly replied. Ling's eyes lit up and she immediately said, "Okay, no problem. Looking forward to Mr. Ming's reply." Hanging up the phone, Ling was in a good mood and immediately invited Luo Lilan to have afternoon tea at home. It was too hot outside and it was inconvenient to speak, so it would be more convenient to prepare herself in the apartment. "I have recently purchased a large amount of ingredients, making it easy to prepare an afternoon tea. Cut various fruits into pieces and set up a beautiful fruit plate, then bake a fruit cake. The weather is too hot, so arrange an ice fruit tea to dissipate the heat." At 3:30, Luo Lilan arrived in a lively manner and exclaimed that it was too hot when she came in. She drank most of the glass of iced fruit tea with a thud. Ling immediately stopped him and said, "You slow down, one hot and one cold. Be careful of your digestive system when it gets cold." Luo let out a breath and said, "Oh my, it's too hot. It's really refreshing to have a glass of ice. Anla, my iron stomach is fine." The two of them sat down, and Ling pushed the fruit cake to her and asked, "How has school been lately?" Luo took a big bite of the cake and chewed on it, saying, "The weather is too hot, and the students are not very energetic in class. It has been almost a month now, and not a drop of rain has fallen. Many flowers, plants, and trees in the school are almost withering. The official also said to save water, and the principal dare not let the workers water them. Sai suddenly remembered something and said, "By the way, a few days ago I went to see my teacher, who was the physicist Professor Su from whom we studied spatial scales last time. Remember?" "Well, I remember," Lingling nodded and said. Llewellyn picked up another piece of pineapple and continued, "The teacher told me a lot about planets, collisions, and radiation, which made me confused. I don't study any planets, how can I understand?" Lingling immediately realized something. "So, what does Professor Su want to say?" Llewellyn smiled mysteriously and said, "Professor Su said a doomsday theory." "Ha ha ha, do you think the old man is very funny, like a child?" Llewellyn smiled heartlessly, but Lingling frowned upon hearing it. But Lawlerton doesn't even believe her mentor's theory of the end of the world, so she definitely won't believe it. Some people just don't have this consciousness and will never believe that the end of the world will come. So Lingling decided not to talk to her anymore, and in the last few days, she could find a way to keep her in the safe house. However, Professor Su didn't mind telling his beloved disciples that he wanted them to be prepared. It's a pity that his good sisters are too ambitious. Alas! Forget it, if you have yourself to protect her, let her continue to be heartless. However, Llewellyn has read a lot of online novels and is naturally familiar with the end of the world. Once the end of the world approaches, she should be able to quickly accept reality. Lingling has not yet figured out a good way to take refuge with others, so she can only take one step at a time. A month has passed in the blink of an eye, and the safe house is ready for inspection. Half of the purchases have also been made. Looking at the materials and the storage area of the space, Lingling's sense of security has been further enhanced. During this period, various types of rice and vegetables were planted in the planting area by Lingling, which was irrigated by the streams on the mountain. The planted seeds emerged and pulled out very high in less than a week, which was much faster than the normal growth rate of planting. Lingling estimated that the land and streams in the space had an accelerating effect. Especially for vegetables that are already fast-growing, such as small green vegetables, chicken hair vegetables, leeks, and scallions, they should be able to be picked in just 2 days. Looking further into the distant orchard, various fruit trees were planted, including grapes, raisins, cherries, sunshine roses, jelly oranges, citrus, apples, pears, watermelons, blueberries, and raspberries. In short, all the fruit trees that could be bought were bought, some of which came with fruit, and the transplanting space was only 1 or 2 weeks. It was almost ripe, and it was really amazing. Entering the most familiar herbal garden, the herbs are also growing very well. Prepare to collect a batch and process them first, so that the herbs can automatically grow again. After all, Chinese herbs will be very important survival medicines in the future. In order to create a traditional Chinese medicine room in the space, Lingling customized a movable wooden house, similar to the one in a garden. Anyway, the space is not rainy, and this type of wooden house is completely usable, mainly for easy storage. The wooden house is custom-made to be very large, with a total area of 400 square meters. Inside, there are whole-wall Chinese medicine grids, medicine storage tanks, and various Chinese medicine processing tools filled the house. There are also cutting knives, planing knives, pestles and mortar, flushing cylinders, stone bowls, grinding boats, and various serrated knives. There are also Chinese medicine special juicers, medicine boiling pots, screening plates, and several large boiling pots outside the house. A small traditional Chinese medicine shop and pharmaceutical workshop are the basic guarantees for Lingling to fight against various unknown diseases in the end. Chapter 8. Safe House Acceptance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While indulging in her own traditional Chinese medicine shop, she heard her phone ringing in the living room. Yes, Lingling could hear outside sounds in the space. Flashing out of space, I saw that the caller was Mr. Ming Ming and answered, "Hello Mr. Ming." Ming Li's pleasant voice came over. "Miss Ling, the plane you selected last time has already been shipped from abroad and will be delivered in about 10 days. However, there is a problem that this is a prohibited goods for customs entry, so we cannot arrange to deliver it to your designated warehouse. We can only smuggle it in through our means and temporarily store it in our secret warehouse X in Haishur. We apologize for not mentioning this to you in advance. Do you think it's just parked in our X warehouse? You can come and leave when needed, and I can give you the address of X warehouse first. After the goods arrive, you can come and inspect them first, and then park them in our X warehouse." Lingling frowned slightly and said, "No problem. I believe in the reputation of Yunzhong Group, so let's follow the instructions of General Lighting." Ming Lai immediately returned and said, "Thank you very much for Miss Ling's trust in Yunzhong Group. To express the mistake caused by this communication, we will provide you with another value-added service. The service content will be selected by you within the group's business, and the business content will be sent to you by Sinan later. Do you think this is acceptable?" Lingling felt Ming Lai's full sincerity and smiled as she replied, "Mr. Ming is really an excellent CEO. No wonder Yunzhong Group's stock price skyrocketed after you took over." "No problem, I am very willing to experience Yunzhong Group's value-added services and have a pleasant cooperation." Ming Lai also sincerely said, "Thank you for Miss Ling's praise. I am still young and lack experience, but I am confident in improving the performance of the group. I also hope to have more opportunities to cooperate with Miss Ling in all business research in the future." Lingling muttered inwardly, "This is really a qualified businessman who has already started soliciting future cooperation intentions." It is estimated that she has understood the situation of her research institute, so Lingling did not act affectedly. "Of course, we are just an independent private research institute. It is our honor to have the opportunity to cooperate with such a large group in the cloud." After a brief business exchange, the two of them hung up on the phone. However, Lingling liked Ming Lai, who was straightforward, quick-witted, financially strong, and had connections, but not impetuous, very down-to-earth, and gave people an inexplicable sense of security. A girl who can take over the family group at the age of 28 is really powerful. 10 days later, Lingling received a notification that the plane had arrived and set off for the ex-warehouse of Yunzhong Group, which was quite far away and would take over an hour by car. Airplanes are very suitable, made by combat ethnicities. At first glance, it is full of a sense of security, and how to earn space is a problem. Call Ming Lai and ask if the monitoring in the warehouse can be turned off. I want to pick up the goods myself, but I don't want to be photographed. Ming Lai said to arrange it immediately, so 5 minutes later, a staff member came to inform that all surveillance had been turned off and all staff had evacuated back to the adjacent office. After waiting for another 10 minutes, Lingling couldn't control so much and retracted the plane into space. The inspection time for the safety house has arrived. When we arrived at the top-level safety house, Manager Lin first introduced the hidden folding safety doors on the corridor walls, which were used to separate 6 apartments from other apartments. He also opened the escape safety doors and escape ladders set up outside the corridor. Then take Lingling to visit each room and introduce the functions and usage, while the designer explains some details. Lingling's own safety room and the safety room next door to Luolan are equipped with a hidden door. Both sides of the hidden door are fireplaces, and the mechanism is mechanical, which meets Lingling's requirement to reduce smart home usage after a power outage. Although there are also many solar panels installed on the top floor, it is necessary to try to avoid possible problems. The furniture is made of solid wood, simple and elegant, and the kitchen cabinets are also movable. Large kitchen appliances are purchased and installed according to Lingling's list requirements. The bedroom is still the same layout as before, with a simple bed and a treadmill, only adding a full-wall storage cabinet and a desk. There is also a special design. The designer opened a cabinet door in the storage cabinet, which has a password door inside. After entering the password to open it, there is a mechanism crank inside. After shaking it, a small safety door opens on the roof above the bedroom desk and a folding ladder is lowered. The designer introduced that this is the roof passage for Miss Ling's emergency escape. This passage is for Miss Ling's sole use and has been registered with the property management. If air support is needed, then this is the fastest and safest passage. Lingling knew that there was a top-level escape route in the plan, but she did not specify the detailed location. This design satisfied her very much, and she could release her own plane as soon as she got up. The design of the bathroom is also very clever. The toilet adopts an aviation design, and the sewage is discharged into a separate sewage tank, which is unrelated to the building's sewage discharge. The sewage tank has a purification treatment system, and the purified water is stored in a dedicated independent water tank, which can be reused as nutrient fertilizer for watering flowers. This can not only avoid the odor of the sewage outlet in the event of flooding, but also save resources through reuse. Lingling proposed to purchase an additional 5 sets of this aviation toilet with a sewage purification system to arrange delivery as soon as possible, hoping to have space for backup. The design of the other 5 safe houses also adopts a unified minimalist style, except for the use of light pink and light goose yellow on the soft furnishings of Lolaton's room. The furniture is white, which is also a special concern of Lingling. After looking at the room, Manager Lin handed a large iron hammer to Lingling and confidently said, "Miss Ling, you can choose any wall, glass, door, and smash it at will." 80, 80, 80. Lingling smashed several places and found that except for the paint on the wall, there were no signs of damage to the other doors and windows. Lingling expressed great satisfaction. After visiting and inspecting the top-floor apartment security house, the group went to the underground garage again. On the wall behind the Lingling parking space, there was an additional door similar to a bank security box warehouse security door, which was twice the width of a regular door. After entering the password and using 2 keys to open the door, there was a long passage. It turned out to be a backup security house, and this arrangement was also very clever. The door was located behind one's own parking space and would not attract the attention of others. The passage is very long, more than 1 kilometer long, and it is also very sturdy. It is built with reinforced concrete structures, and the lighting energy is also provided by solar panels. There is also a material storage room every 200 meters inside the passage, which can store different materials separately. It's like the 3 caves of the cunning rabbit. At the entrance of one of the storage rooms, the designer continued to move forward, but Manager Lin stopped with Lingling and opened the door, saying, "Miss Ling, this is the weapon you purchased separately. You have also bought enough ammunition according to your requirements. You can take a look." Lingling walked in and took a look. She found pistols, miniature submachine guns, light rifles, light machine guns, mini rocket launchers, grenades, smoke grenades, and all kinds of bullets. Manager Lin walked in and pointed to a safe, saying, "This is a customized version of the pistol that our boss gave to Miss Ling. It is made of space alloy, and not only has a small body, but the bullets are also very small. It uses a new type of explosive material, which has strong killing power and almost no sound without a silencer. It is very suitable for women to use for self-defense." After finishing speaking, she opened the safe and found a small pistol shining with silver lying quietly inside the box. There were boxes of bullets below. Lingling took it out and saw that the bullets were really small, only half the size of the pills and capsules she usually took. Surprised, he said, "Your boss is interested. I really like this pistol." Manager Lin respectfully replied, "Our boss has said that Miss Ling's safe house design is very clever. We really hope that Miss Ling can allow our company to apply these design concepts to the design of other clients' safe houses. However, we will absolutely protect Miss Ling's privacy and will not disclose the source of the design." Lingling thought to herself, "I see. This is because I have a liking for my design. I can use a pistol to offset the design usage fee. It doesn't matter, but I don't know how long it will last. She said generously, of course, I also hope that more people can use this design, and of course, I also hope that no one will use it. Several people walked for about 20 minutes before they saw another identical safety door. The space behind the door was large, but it was simpler than the apartment. The hall in the middle was connected to the kitchen and dining room, about 60 square meters. There were room doors all around. There were 6 rooms in total, and each room had its own bathroom. One of the larger rooms was Lingling's room, a little larger one was 30 square meters, and the others were 20 square meters. Because it is an underground safe house with no natural lighting, the ceiling is equipped with a whole soft light strip, and the brightness can be adjusted to simulate the sunlight at different times of the day. The other home designs are basically the same as the top floor apartment. The handover of the safe house was completed, and Lingling changed the password. After changing the AB lock, she put away the key and went home. Lingling, who was desperately cooking and storing food in the kitchen at home, unexpectedly received a call from Ming. Hello, Gu, why do you have time to call me? I'm not busy lately. Ming said nervously on the phone, Lingling, I've been very busy lately. I have something to ask you, it's Xiaolan and my parents. Before Ming could finish speaking, Lingling took over and said, Brother D, there's no need to say anything. I know everything. I will arrange it. You can work with peace of mind, but remember to keep in touch with me. Okay, I believe in Lingling's meticulousness, said Ming with a clear understanding in her heart. The conversation between smart people is that simple. Hanging up the phone, Lingling continued to be busy in the kitchen. Lingling also customized 5 large wooden houses for the space, each covering an area of 200 square meters, to be used as a library. After all, book retention is also very important, as it is the evolution of human culture. The customized bookshelf Lingling was not in a hurry to fit into the space, but was temporarily placed in an empty conference room of the Research Institute, and several students studying library management were hired to help sort and organize these books. The sorting of books takes a lot of time, comparable to a large bookstore. Several students spent nearly 3 weeks organizing all the books, and Lingling put all the bookshelves into the space after work when the Research Institute was empty, filling 5 wooden houses. Looking at these books, Lingling thought that in the end, this would be the cornerstone of civilization's revival, which would ease her mood a lot. Chapter 9. Mr. Ming, hello. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The time for buying has always passed so quickly. It's already July, entering the true summer season, and the temperature is getting higher and higher. In previous years, the high temperature of 38 degrees in July has exceeded 45 degrees this year. Due to the price increase of ingredients, many small restaurants have started to close their doors to customers. The hot and dry weather has caused a serious reduction in vegetable production, and even many poultry have started to die from heatstroke. Only some large restaurants are still struggling to support themselves. The authorities have come up with many methods, such as artificial rainfall and releasing water from the reservoir, but unfortunately, the water level in the reservoir is already running low. Every day, the news constantly calls on the public to save water and electricity. Commercial and industrial electricity is used to make way for civilian use, and many manufacturers have started to shut down for holidays. Shopping malls have also shortened their operating hours, and some commercial venues have even adjusted their operating hours to 4 p.m. to 2 p.m. in the afternoon to avoid high temperature periods and save energy. These signs are all signs of the end for Lingling, and there are also many post-apocalyptic comments on social media online. At the beginning, the official insisted on debunking rumors, and experts came out with various analyses to appease people's hearts. But later on, the authorities no longer cared about it, and only some experts continued to analyze and stated that there would be no apocalypse. But there are still some people who firmly believe in the end, so the number of hoarders is gradually increasing. Of course, overall, those who believe in the end are still a minority. But Lingling believes that the authorities know the end of the world, otherwise she wouldn't have bought those 2 reports, so the authorities must have started preparing. Some second-generation officials or richest people who have close ties with the authorities must have received the news. Otherwise, Di Gu wouldn't mention that the military is deploying and wouldn't call her to ask her to take care of her family. I hope the official and military can fully prepare the deployment, so as to better help the people get through the end of the day. With the rise of online doomsday theories, everyone is sharing their inventory lists, and Lingling is also browsing with great interest. As expected, experts are in the public, and many people have made comprehensive lists and thoughtful considerations. As everyone communicated and supplemented each other, the list became more and more complete and rich. Lingling also began to carefully read the list summarized by everyone and compare whether there were any omissions in her own list. Just as Lingling was carefully reviewing the list, she received a call from Ming Lai. "Hi, Miss Ling, it's me again, Ming Lai." Lingling smiled and said, "Hello, Mr. Ming." "Oh, Miss Ling, we're too far-fetched. You can call me Lai Lai, and I'll call you Sister Ling, okay?" Lingling didn't dislike the clever young CEO either. "Alright, Lai Lai, what can I do for you?" Ming Lai said happily, "Sister Ling, your procurement project is almost completed. Yesterday, I personally checked all your projects with Sinan. This is the biggest business for our trading company this year. I don't know which other businesses we have the opportunity to cooperate with in the future, or which research projects Ling's research needs sponsorship for. Let's find an opportunity to have a face-to-face chat, okay?" Lingling already understands Ming Lai's meaning. She wants to determine whether the purpose of this purchase is to cope with the end of the world by whether there are future cooperation opportunities. Lingling has a good impression of this young female CEO, and she doesn't directly ask, "Sister, is it the end of the world?" But she politely and subtly asks. So Lingling returned and said, "Lai Lai, I'm currently on a big vacation, probably until August. During this period, the Research Institute is only maintaining the original project experiments and there will be no new development projects launched in the short term, so we may not have any new collaborative projects for now. After my vacation ends, I will reconsider the direction of future research and formulate new research projects, and then we will see if there are any opportunities for cooperation in the future." Upon hearing this, Ming Lai immediately understood Lingling's suggestion and smiled, saying, "Of course, not a problem. Since Lingjie is on vacation, I won't disturb her much. We can schedule a meeting when Lingjie resumes work. I also want to visit Lingjie's research institute to study." Lingling knew she understood her suggestion and said with satisfaction, "That's very welcome. Our research institute is glad to have more communication with a CEO like Lai Lai." After hanging up the phone, Lingling returned to her online inventory list and saw some unexpected details, such as children's toys, dolls, baby products, etc. After all, she was single and didn't consider these things. However, Lingling was not planning to stock up on these anymore, but was planning to wait until the end of the day when she had the opportunity to go out and buy for 0 yuan. After all, this was not a necessity for her, but she was still willing to stock up in space for free. Ming Lai is a shrewd businessman. After receiving the news from Sinan, she began to pay attention to the public opinion outside and quickly became aware of the end of the world. She obtained confirmation from Lingling indirectly. Copying homework is not difficult, especially for Yunzhong Group. Such purchasing volume is just a piece of cake and won't attract any attention from others. Besides purchasing, Ming Lai didn't know what Lingling was prepared for, so he also started exploring the essential strategies for the end of the world through his own network, the Safe House. Originally, there was also this, not just a safe house for novels. Ming Lai wouldn't miss it. She thought Lingling must have prepared it too. So he directly entrusted the task of installing the Yangshangshan villa as a safe house to Sinan, and made it clear that he would take her for refuge together. Even if the apocalyptic theory is just a rumor, materials will not be wasted. As for merchants, there is no resource that will be wasted. Buy with your left hand, sell with your right hand, and make a profit by short selling casually. No matter how you calculate, you will not lose. At the same time, as a businessman, Ming even considered the group's business in the post-apocalyptic period, so he began to hoard a large number of energy supplies, cloth and paper, and various finished products and materials that may be damaged in the post-apocalyptic period. In the short term, if production cannot be restored, various materials and finished products are urgently needed. Yunzhong Group must take the lead in the market and become the first official or military partner in the early stages of post-apocalyptic reconstruction. After planning these things, Ming urgently acquired several medical device and pharmaceutical manufacturers, worked overtime in production, and hoarded them not for sale, all of which were stored in warehouses of Yunzhong Group in various places. And it is required that each warehouse accelerate the renovation, improve flood resistance, earthquake resistance, insulation and other disaster resistance levels. And this series of honey juice operations made some colleagues unable to understand, thinking that this young female CEO was crazy, and that this was going to defeat Yunzhong Group. They all shook their heads regretfully. They didn't know that due to Ming divine operation, in the reconstruction after the end of the day, Yunzhong Group became the first official designated partner of China, and the reputation of the group skyrocketed. Of course, Lingling did not expect that her encounter with Ming unintentionally led to Ming success. Chapter 10. Tank Hummer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After confirming the safe house plan a month ago, Lingling contacted a frequently visited Hummer modification club to convert her Hummer into a tank, armed with tires and even wipers, hoping to be combat level. The club owner Tiger stared at Lingling for half a minute, then laughed heartily and said, "Ling, your modification is going against the sky. Before, you had high horsepower and fast speed, but this time you changed to become a female warrior." Lingling said indifferently, should I carry the big flag with Tiger Brother? Follow, wherever Ling hits, Tiger Brother will follow you wherever he goes. Tiger Brother is a very loyal person, because there are only a few girls playing Hummer modified cars, and Lingling is a feverish senior sister. However, she is a star-level figure in their circle, and Lingling learned how to repair cars from Tiger Brother. Their relationship is both teacher and friend. Tiger knows that her major is researching materials and she comes from a family of traditional Chinese medicine. Having such a close friend is beneficial for both public and private life. In addition, I also want Tiger to help me buy a camper car and do the same modification. I know Hummer has it, but I want a smaller one. It's inconvenient to drive it too big. Lingling also raised the new car requirements to Tiger Brother. This is a big business, Tiger said happily. Of course there is. I will send you an introduction to RVs that almost meet your requirements in a moment. Once you choose them, I will immediately pick them up and arrange modifications for you. Don't worry, I guarantee that both of these cars can handle it, they are absolutely invincible tanks. Lingling finally smiled knowingly and said, I knew Tiger Brother must be reliable. He can make it within a month. You can send me the budget, and I will pay the full amount directly. Tiger Brother patted Lingling's shoulder and said grandly, money is not in a hurry. I'll drive the car to the apartment downstairs for you in a month. 2 days later, the RV model was confirmed and full payment was made, totaling 12 million yuan. Among them, 8 million yuan was purchased for the RV, and the modification cost was 2 million yuan for each of the 2 cars. A month later, Lingling, who was making sushi in the kitchen, received a call from Hugo. Ling, come down, the car has arrived. It's in your parking space in the underground garage. Where is the RV parked? Lingling said, I'll be right here. I rented another spot for the RV, and I'll drive it later. Seeing the modified Hummer, Lingling turned around and asked, Brother Hu, the appearance hasn't changed much, it's okay. Tiger Brother confidently said, that's because the appearance changes too much and you have to go to the vehicle management office to re-register. It's so troublesome. The car body and windows are all the latest and best explosion-proof and bulletproof materials, and the quotation I gave you has a material list. You are professional, and the tires are also the latest explosion-proof and bulletproof materials. Ordinary nails and metal spikes cannot be pierced, and even armor-piercing bullets are not so easy to break. You can definitely rest assured. In addition, the car is equipped with space alloy crash bumpers and impact steel spikes all around, which are hidden and can be activated with just one click when needed. There are skylights on the roof, you know. The RV is also modified the same way, but it has added high-efficiency solar panels to provide power to the RV. Basically, air conditioning and hot water are not a problem. In terms of power, I have developed two sets of systems. The regular engine has been replaced with a higher horsepower, the latest version of the Whirlwind engine. It starts quickly and instantly accelerates to 200 km per hour. However, you can use it with caution. The driving experience is okay, and passengers may vomit. In addition, a power system has been installed using a space hydrogen thruster, which is faster and can accelerate to 350 km per hour in 0.5 seconds. However, due to hydrogen storage issues, the range is relatively short and can cover 200 km. So this can only be used to escape life in the most critical situation. Lingling was very interested in this system and noticed it when she was given the plan. She asked, "Where can I get hydrogen? I want to reserve some." Tiger hesitated for a moment and said, "I can help you buy it, but this is a flammable and explosive raw material that is also controlled by the country, making it difficult to buy. I can gradually help you stock up on some and hand them over to you together." Lingling thought it would also save her trouble. She didn't have to find a way to buy it herself, so she said, "Okay, as much as possible. I'll transfer the money to you first. If you want 5 million yuan of goods, they'll be delivered to the warehouse I rented." Lingling listened and opened the car door to examine the internal changes. She then walked onto the RV to examine the interior layout and carefully examined all the points mentioned by Brother Hu. Then he said with satisfaction, "Well, I knew that handing over the Hummer modification to Tiger would definitely be the best." "If you're satisfied, it's good," Tiger Brother said with a silly smile that only knows how to treat Lingling. Before parting, Lingling said again, "Brother Hu, the weather has been abnormal lately. You should also make more preparations. Up to now, everyone is smart." In fact, Tiger Brother had already realized something when Lingling requested to modify the tank, so he also modified 2 cars for himself at the same time. After all, Tiger Brother also had a wife and son, and he was very willing to sacrifice his life. After Lingling's reminder, Tiger Brother became even more determined to have something big happen. He immediately went back to arrange for his wife to start hoarding goods, including rice, flour, oil, grains, meat, eggs, milk, fruits, vegetables, and seasonings. He also stocked up as much as he could. His family, villa, and basement were all filled, and several refrigerators and freezers were added to store meat and seafood. After Tiger Brother left, Lingling drove out in her RV and drove all the way out of the city to the remote suburbs. After checking around to confirm that there was no surveillance, she took the RV into the space. Then he took out a small electric donkey from the space and rode it briskly towards the main road. When I reached the roadside, I picked up my electric donkey phone and called a car to head straight to the old house. After opening the space, I called to ask if the herbal garden at Chen's house was okay. Chen said that some herbs that couldn't hold on had already been collected, while others could only be left to fate. Chen felt very sorry for that herbal garden. Lingling comforted Chen Bo that he just temporarily stopped planting and would wait for the weather to improve before replanting. Entering the old house, due to the hot weather, I saw the elderly couple sitting on bamboo lounge chairs and fanning their summer fans in the lobby on the first floor. Although the air conditioning was not turned on, the temperature was only around 35 degrees. The elderly are afraid of the cold and not the heat, but they find it acceptable. However, it is too hot outside and they rarely go to the yard to do work. Lingling sat down and said to Chenbo, it's too hot here and there's not much work at home. You don't need to worry about the herbal garden lately. I'll take you to the apartment upstairs of my research institute to escape the heat. You're too far away from me to take care of here, and I'm very worried. Li's mother held Lingling's hand and said, Lingling has been losing weight lately. Alright, I'll go pack my things according to your arrangement. He called Chenbo and went to pack up his things. Lingling didn't expect it to go so smoothly either. She thought the elderly wouldn't want to move and thought of a bunch of reasons, but ended up with just one simple sentence. Lingling also knew that the two elderly people had been in the old house for so many years, treating her like granddaughters. She definitely didn't want to cause her any trouble, so she absolutely obeyed the arrangements. This way, it was also good and saved a lot of trouble. The old man didn't bring a lot of things, only some clothes to change and wash, and each person followed Lingling to the research institute building with a suitcase. When they reached the top floor, Lingling chose the middle room for them and took them inside to settle down. After teaching Chen how to open the door, he handed over the key to him and said, Chen, I will also move over after I finish my vacation in a while. It's in the innermost room, and I can go downstairs to work conveniently. It's hot outside, so I don't have to run around. The house has just been renovated, and I have bought some basic daily necessities for you, including towels, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and so on. I also bought some food in the refrigerator. Every 2 days, I arrange to buy it online and send it over. If it's too hot, don't go out. Additionally, this is Xiaohai's contact information. He is a purchaser at my research institute, and the young man is very enthusiastic. During this time, I will not be at the institute during my vacation. If you have any questions, feel free to contact him. You don't need to be polite. Chenbo and Li Mama strolled around the house, and Li Mama said with satisfaction, Lingling, you're worried. You can rest assured that you're on vacation. If there's anything we can do, we'll find Xiaohai. When you move over, Li Mama will make your favorite chestnut roasted chicken. Lingling is really happy, which means that the two elderly people can follow her smoothly in the apocalypse. At this point, Lingling didn't know that even though she had made so much preparation, her seemingly smooth and thorough deployment would still not withstand the test of various natural disasters and human disasters in the end of the day. In order to put the Hummer tank into space, Lingling drove to the outskirts and operated it in the same way. Then I went to the second-hand car market and casually bought an SUV to temporarily drive. In the blink of an eye, another week has passed. It's 45 degrees outside and the air conditioning in the car can only be turned on to 30 degrees, but it's still a bit hot. Lingling began to prepare for the Resettlement Institute. When she arrived at the institute, she called 3 senior directors and Xiaohai to have a meeting. She said leisurely, the weather has gone crazy recently, and I'm going to spend some time in the north for summer vacation. I think everyone's experiment is almost finished, and there are still a few projects in no hurry. I want to give everyone a summer vacation. You also want to avoid summer vacation. You wanted to organize everyone to spend the summer together, but thought that some people might visit their families and go home during this holiday, so we let everyone arrange their own. The 3 directors were all very happy and said, that's really great. The weather is hot, and energy consumption is also severe, especially the laboratory has high environmental requirements, which is really too energy consuming. Lingling strongly agreed, well, this is also one aspect that I am considering. So we will temporarily give everyone a holiday until early August, and the specific resumption time will be notified by me. In addition, there is a welfare material distribution arrangement that requires your cooperation. This list is for everyone's heatstroke prevention materials. You can find the trading company you worked with last time to purchase and distribute them, and you don't have to be busy. Just send them the order and the shipping address of the employees, so they can arrange for procurement and packaging and delivery as soon as possible. There are also 2 people who are assisting in the production of new products in the military factory. Don't forget, Xiao Hai said he will definitely complete the task. Lingling continued, also inform the finance department that all researchers will receive an additional mid-year bonus. Several major projects have been completed this year, and the research institute has made good profits. Everyone has contributed greatly. Each person costs 100,000 yuan, and the 3 directors cost 200,000 yuan. Xiao Hai worked hard on the procurement project last time, so an additional 50,000 yuan will be added. The 3 directors did not know what procurement project Little Sea Cucumber was involved in, but they did not ask much. Xiao Hai was pleasantly surprised and happy like a child. She immediately expressed her loyalty and said, "Lingjie, you're welcome." Xiao Hai is not a researcher, and they would do scientific research without them. But as long as it's related to procurement, Xiao Hai will definitely do everything possible to help the research institute complete the procurement for Lingjie. The 3 directors and Lingling all laughed at his sweet mouth. Lingling said, "That's it then. The specific day for the holiday will be decided by the 3 directors based on the work arrangements of their respective laboratories, but try to release people within 5 days. Personnel, finance, and Xiao Hai will stay at the end. Is that okay?" Everyone said there was no problem, and they were very happy to have an extra summer vacation, as well as summer welfare supplies and bonuses, which were all beautiful and not to be missed. Before leaving, Lingling went to various laboratories to greet everyone. Everyone quickly received news of the summer vacation and welfare distribution, and happily greeted or chatted with Lingling. Lingling usually doesn't chat with everyone in her work and is relatively quiet and doesn't like to laugh. Today, Lingling thought that maybe this is the last time she will meet everyone, and she will chat with everyone with a sincere smile for the first time. Everyone is also very excited. After all, Bing Marin smiled, she smiled, it's rare to see her.